3, go.
I'm back again on the economy. The primary problems we're facing are really not what we would call serious problems. They appear that way primarily because we have groups of people in government that never probably ever had a private sector job, or they never started a company at all. And therefore, they are making decisions based on the idea they know better how to start jobs. Well, it's false. It's beyond false. They're hypocrites in everything they say or do today, and it's getting worse. The problems we have are really, they're not very difficult at all. In fact, they're actually quite simple. They're simple because you only need a couple items to think about this. You need to have the desire and the willingness to spend the time and your money to start a job. If you have those things, then you can move forward. Otherwise, nothing moves forward. And if you're poor, poor do not make what I would call a good candidate to start large corporations. It just doesn't work that way, and that's the way the unfortunateness of our world is today. Today we have basically what I would call, like I think I commented about back in around 2001 when I was writing my book, that we will only have 2 classes in the United States. One class is the rich, and the other class is the poor, or what some people have called the haves and have-nots. It's getting worse by the moment. We have what they call today a vast amount of people on food stamps. The last time I can really recall food stamps being issued was back when I was a very, very little boy during the Second World War. We had food stamps, and they were based on rationing. They were really rationing of sugar and gasoline, and tires if you had to use a car for the car. But that was, that was mainly the only thing. So, like I said, it's simple to solve problems, because problems are, you find problems when you define a problem because you don't understand it. And you can't understand a problem unless you look at it. If you can see the problem, you can basically understand it, and therefore you can solve it. When you cannot see the ugly head of the problem, I'm sorry, you can never solve it. It's a very, very hard problem to solve. The patents I have behind here were given to me as a result of my ability to basically solve problems in mechanical machines and electronics and electrical machines. Most of the things I have on this wall are basically accumulation of things that people have told me for years. It can't be done. This can't be done. That can't be done. There's a large group of people in the world, the world to me now, remember, is America, who will always consider things can't get done and won't be done, it won't work. And so that's because they can't do it. So therefore, everybody, they look at themselves, at the elite and the brain, they call the brain trusts, as you've heard many times. They can't do it. So as a result, you can't do it. Well, you know how crazy that stuff is. The United States has more people supplying patents to the world than all the nations combined. So, what are we going to say about that? I spent 50 years basically in the private sector. I love my work. My work really, well, it really wasn't work to me. It was a love. I found my true love in design and engineering things that were impossible to do. I thrived on it. I thrived on it. I believed that I could do pretty much anything if I was given the leeway to do it, and I was very fortunate to have mentors that allowed me to do those things. And by doing those things, I was able to create things. And the best part about it, we started companies on many of these items. We started larger companies grouping together, and we were succeeding very, very well. And we hired a lot of good people. I think at one time we had like 50 people in our company. Now, who really made that company? Well, I look at it that the people that came to work, the working force, they were the ones that made that company great. We helped at the start by doing what we did, our job, or love of job, but they were the ones that finished it. So those things, that's why I love the American people. I know their capabilities. I know things we can do. I do not know what we can't do. That's simple. There is nothing the American working force or the working businessman or the inventor or the engineers or anyone, there's nothing that's not capable. Now, the issue with the taxes and whatnot we're dealing with, I'm going to ask for and make it mandatory by executive order that we will accept Bush's tax issues. And I'm going to add one other thing to it. I'm going to also reduce the amount of tax that businesses have to go into business. It will be 20%, not the 40%. You see, because I believe in one thing. People with money create jobs. Simple, isn't it? Money creates jobs for large groups of people. The poor do not create jobs. They only have their hand out, and government loves to throw and fill them up with whatever they feel is necessary, just bordering on. You become a state of servitude. You bow down to the masters. That's not America, and I'm not going to allow that to happen ever. The rich Americans make money, and I want them to make money, because in doing so, they will encourage others to do the same, and they will create tremendous amounts of jobs. And we're going to open up all the resources we need, because you need resources to make materials to make factories to build parts that we once did. People who go offshore, well, they're going to have a problem with that, because I'm going to charge anything they build a minimum of 50% import duty. Take that. That's what it's going to cost you. So you have to come back here to build. Unions, well, I'll tell you something. You can still keep paying money. Who in the right mind wants to pay someone for the rest of their life money for a job that you don't get paid from that person, do you? You become the employer, employing them to protect you. Well, that's not going to happen. No, we're not going to do that. So we're going to have allowed everybody gets the opportunity to do it. And one other thing, I'm going to make darn sure that all veterans have first priority to all jobs that we have now, okay? Because they gave something that none of us have given. That's all I'm going to say for the moment on the economy. There's hundreds of other things, but I'm going to say that. That's it. Next time I'll be speaking to you will be about illegals, immigration, and immigration reform. Thank you very much for listening to me.